like most of the speakers who speak at this seminar, you're going to notice that we're just ordinary, average people who happened to, a couple years ago, in the most cases, some just last year or the year before, got started on the internet and are making very, very good money, at least 6 figures a year, selling different and various types of products and services on the web. Now, the important thing you're going to notice during the seminar is that none of the things that we talk about are really that complex. Everything we cover is common sense and something that everybody in this room can do. And Armand informed me that they took a survey at the beginning of the seminar, and most of the people in the seminar would be classified as intermediate. Is that right? Most of you have websites that are up and running right now? Raise your hand if you don't have a website that's up and running. Okay, so we still have maybe a third of the people who don't have a website up and running. But for the other 2/3 of you, you're already going to have the mindset that you need to succeed online. A lot of times, the difference between success and failure online is just one tiny little tweak. And that's so critical. I'd really like you to write that down. Just one tiny little tweak is sometimes what it takes, the difference between success and failure. And there's going to be a couple stories that I talk about in this presentation that you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, the first thing is we'd like to introduce the topic. We're going to talk about how to make a fortune fixing up lousy websites. And the first question people always ask me is, well, why would you want to fix up a lousy website? Okay, so we're going to talk about that. Here's the first slide. A lot of times when you hear things on the internet and you go to read different ebooks and products and read articles, a lot of the stuff is, it's bull, right? I mean, it doesn't work in the real world. Now, let me give you an example of why what we're going to talk about in this presentation is so critical and so powerful for you to understand. And the word that actually explains what this concept is a French word, and it means arbitrage, which all that means is anytime you can make a transaction or a profit without risk, financial or otherwise to yourself. Now, how many of you would be interested in making large transactions where there's no risk of losing any money? Okay, well, that's what this presentation is all about. And there's two reasons I actually show this picture. The first is, to talk about the bull that a lot of people talk about and refer to as internet marketing. The second is I want to tell you a little story about arbitrage or riskless profits. And that's the definition of arbitrage. Anytime that you can make a profit without risk. All arbitrage is, like we already said, you can make a transaction with no risk whatsoever. So if you can make lots of tiny little transactions with no risk whatsoever, is that a good deal? Right. What if you could just make one large transaction with no risk? It's all the same. As long as there's no risk, you're willing to accept the transaction. My father is, for lack of a better term, and it's a good thing we're here in Dallas, it's a cow town. My dad's a hick. My dad grew up in southeastern Idaho on a dairy farm. And one of the ways that he made money immediately after college was he bought and sold herds of dairy cattle. Now, to a lot of people, that sounds pretty risky, right? You're going to go out and make a transaction, buy something, then hopefully turn around and sell it to somebody else for a profit. Now, that's how most of us think in a linear fashion. We think, okay, well, that's the way you do the transaction. You buy something, and then you sell it. But can you think of a simple way that you could do a transaction like that with zero risk? Sell it first, and then buy it. And that's exactly what he did. He'd go out and find large herds of dairy cattle and offer to make a firm offer to buy them for a certain price. Then he'd go run ads in his local newspaper or deal with contacts people he already knew and get a firm offer to buy those same cattle. So what's his risk? Zero. Well, technically he did pay for the classified ad, right? But that's a pretty minimal cost. We're going to assume that's pretty close to zero. And so he would actually sell herds of 20, 30, 50, 100 dairy cattle, which is a transaction of $100,000 back when he was 22 or 23 years old, and do this transaction already having a buyer that's agreed and in most cases given him a check, and that he would never even take possession of the cattle. Now, that's exactly the same thing you can do online with websites, with mailing lists, with any number of things. And that's what we're going to cover. Now, let's talk a little bit. Now, this is just information that you need to know and a mindset that you need to have. Let's talk about the most valuable skill in the world. Now, wouldn't you agree that in internet marketing, most of the time there isn't really as much a financial risk as is information risk? For example, how many of you have ever, created your first website? It's pretty hard the first time, isn't it? But what about the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, and the fifth time? Doesn't the learning curve, isn't it gone? By the time you create your 10th or 15th website, it's a whole lot easier. Everything in internet marketing is exactly the same way. Most people don't take action because they see this huge barrier, they see this huge risk. And it happens in every market you can think of. For example, in real estate, I know several people that are real estate investors. And the first transaction is always the hardest. After they do that first one and they get on a roll, it becomes easier and easier and easier. That's the same thing with internet marketing. Second point, it is always more valuable to know how to sell a product or service than to know about a product or service. How many of you agree with me on that? Okay, I'm going to convince the other half of you during this presentation. Has anyone ever heard of a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber? Okay, what's the basic premise of the book? Right, stop working in your business, work on your business. Now, what does that mean? That means, you don't do the day-to-day tasks. The E stands for a lot of different things. It stands for entrepreneur. He calls it the entrepreneur myth. Most people think they want to become entrepreneurs when they're really another E, which is an engineer. Entrepreneur versus engineer. Okay, now I'm going to show you a couple examples in the upcoming slides that prove this point. How many of us know people that are experts in some particular field of expertise and make no money? I mean, isn't the world full of people like that? The world is full of people with PhDs, master's degrees, or some highly specialized technical training that they can't make a buck. On the other hand, how many of you know marketers that when you meet them in person don't really appear to be that, squared together, but they're making hundreds of... Yeah, John Reese is standing right back there. Perfect example. He raised his hand, so he was asking for it. That's my case in point, okay? It's always much more valuable to know about marketing. And I would say that having a knowledge of internet marketing in today's economic climate is absolutely positively the best specialized training you could ever have. It's better than being a doctor. Has anybody ever noticed that insurance premiums are going through the roofs for doctors? Doctors are going out of business. It's better than being an attorney. It's better than any possible training that you could get under the sun. Now, the important thing about that is how long does it take to train to become a doctor or a lawyer or one of these other specialized things, some IT guru or something like that? Years and years and years. So why is it when it comes to internet marketing that people want to have an overnight success? I mean, is that really practical? You're going to have to put in the time. I'm not going to say it's going to take years. In some cases, it takes a few months, 6 to 12 months. I would say in most cases, with the knowledge that you're going to learn at this seminar, within the next 12 months, you're going to have the opportunity to make a substantial income on the internet. Now, what substantial is, that depends on you. They do these interesting studies. And a friend of mine, Don Alm, brought this up. He noted that in sales, which is basically a subset of marketing, that you can always tell exactly how much money a salesperson is going to make in sales by just asking them how much they made in their previous employment. If they made $30,000 in their previous employment, that's what they're going to make in sales. If they made $100,000, they're going to make $100,000. They made $200,000, exact same thing. Why is that? It's just all in the mindset, and that's what internet marketing comes down to. When you launch a new project, when you take on a new task, when you develop a new business idea, the sky is unlimited. I mean, there's basically on the internet there is unlimited wealth waiting to be tapped if you have the correct marketing, and that's all it comes down to is the marketing. Is this the best website you've ever seen in your life? It's going to be a little bit hard to read in the back, but what the headline is, The Ultimate Super Affiliate Marketing Guide with Reprint Rights. Discover how an 18-year-old earns a full-time automated income without a website or product of his own on a very tight budget. Never create your own product and still earn a generous automated income online. Create your own viral marketing machine and double your income instantly. Okay, and then it's on the left-hand side, he has some brown border or something like that. And then it goes on and on and on. Now, the copy is okay. I mean, it does work. But would you say that that's the best sales letter or intro that you've ever read? No. It's pretty generic. I mean, it's all true. This was written by an 18-year-old in Australia. And how much would be willing to venture a website like that would sell in products per month? It sells a course on basically the topic of super affiliate marketing. All super affiliate marketing means is there's various individuals that that's their whole business. They join affiliate programs with the sole purpose of becoming a super affiliate and selling all kinds of products and services. Okay. How much would you be willing to venture that this website sold per month? It was pretty new at the time. At the time that this case study was done, it was only about a few months old, 4 months old. Okay, 2002 net profit, $8,500 in 4 months. Okay, so let's round down. Let's say $2,000 a month. Okay, because it was $8,500 gross. It's a digital product. So what are the costs? Basically zero. He had some ClickBank fees and maybe a few things like that. So we'll say $2,000 net a month. Is that fair? Okay. It was a great product, got great reviews. You know, he had some fantastic joint venture partners. Has anybody ever heard of a website called associateprograms.com by a man in Australia named Alan Gardine? Well, anyway, that's kind of like the central repository for information about associate programs. And at the time that we did this case study, that ugly little website by an 18-year-old Australian was featured on the main page of associateprograms.com. You know, that's one of the reasons that he was making $2,000 a month. Okay, and that's after paying out affiliate commissions and things like that. Okay, he had 375 past customers. That's people who had already purchased the course. Monthly expense of running the site of less than $15. So it tells you already down there that he was only asking $5,500 for the entire business. Now, what did I mean by the business? Rights to the sales copy and complete worldwide rights to the copyright of the actual course that he had spent a couple months writing. Now, does that seem a little bit shocking to anybody? Does that seem just a little bit low? Yeah. Now, why would anybody be willing to sell a business that makes $2,000 a month for $5,500? Because he's 18 years old. That's one of the reasons. You know, and I really don't know the answer, so I'm really asking for some help here. I don't know. He's Australian. $5,500 American is a lot Australian. You know, I really don't know. And that's the thing to take away from this is you really don't know why people do stuff like this. People just do crazy things. Okay, well, I ended up buying that business and the entire website for $4,000. Okay, I gave him $2,000 down, and I gave him another $2,000 in 60 days. Now, here's an important point. So how much did I buy the business for? $2,000. Because where did the $2,000 that I paid him in 60 days come from? From the profits of his own website. Okay, so that's an important distinction. Whenever you buy a website, the total price doesn't matter. If somebody says, hey, I'll sell you my website for $1 million, I'll go, okay, well, I'll give you $10,000 down and the rest out of the profits for the business for the next 3 years. What do I care? I mean, he's the one who set it up anyway. He's the one who generated the sales and the traffic and wrote the book and wrote the copy and did all the work. He just didn't want to happen to do the easy part, which is marketing. Okay, so that's a business. I bought it for $2,000. I wired $2,000 down to Australia. He turned the website over to me. How much time did it take me to gain control of the website and all that kind of stuff? About 15 minutes. Because he gave me the ClickBank account that came with the site. Okay, you see, he transferred ownership of the ClickBank account. Oh, the other thing is in the ClickBank account there's about $500 or $600 of reserves. So I actually paid $1,500 because there was $500 basically sitting in the ClickBank account that would be paid out to me over a course of, I don't know. I don't remember that kind of stuff. So the other things I had to transfer is I had to transfer the domain name. Has anybody ever transferred a domain name? It kind of sucks, but it's not as hard as it used to be. You fill out a little paperwork, and I think you can pay some money, and they do it faster. You can just send it in, and it takes them 6 weeks. Not $200, and they do it immediately. Not that big a deal. I transferred the website over to my server. That was it, folks. I now owned a business that was making $2,000 a month net that I paid essentially $1,500 for. So what was my risk? Well, zero. He proved to me that the business was making that money. That's an important point. Well, let's talk about that for a minute. How would you verify that somebody's actually making money with their website, with their lousy little website? ClickBank, right? He was selling through ClickBank, entirely through ClickBank. So how do you verify the income? Okay, what's your ClickBank login and password? You log in and check. Can he forge that? No. What if he says, well, I take most of my sales through my merchant account? Well, what do you tell them? Oh, I want your tax returns for the last 3 years? No. The important thing when you're dealing with these buying and selling these websites, you're dealing with individuals, not corporations. Do individuals like giving you tax returns? No. What would be the thing that he would have if he has a merchant account? Doesn't he get a monthly merchant statement that he has there in his office somewhere? So you just have him fax his last 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever of his merchant statements. What if he says he takes payments by PayPal? What's your PayPal login? Then tell him change it in 15 minutes after I get a chance to check it out and print out the records. What if he says he takes checks by phone? Same thing. Send me your bank account to me. So that's a critical thing because and that's going to become super important when we talk about verification in a little bit. Okay. So that's not the end of the story. I happen to have a desire to raise a large sum of cash quickly in this particular business, with this particular business. So I just ICQ'd a friend of mine, a guy named Michael Murray down in Florida. The coincidental thing, Michael Murray is also 18 years old. The original author was 18. Michael Murray has cerebral palsy, and he is a fantastic guy. He's one of the most unique individuals I've ever met. I just happened to ICQ him, and I knew he was very interested in this topic of super affiliate marketing. That was kind of like the thing he was zooming in on. So I just asked him if he wanted to buy the site. Well, 10 days later, I pocketed $9,000 because Michael Murray paid me $12,000 for that same business that I just purchased for $1,500, knowing that's exactly what I paid. So do you see how that works? I made $1,000 in sales. I made over $9,000, but let's just keep it simple. Made about $9,000 for 10 days' work. Okay. Now, here's what I would have done if I would have held the business longer, and this is what I counseled Michael to do. Now, here's the new website. The top says, special report, want to cash in on the internet but don't have a product to sell or a website to sell it from? Want a lazy, cheap, and quick way to make money with little effort or cash with no website or product of your own? If so, then in a few moments I'll reveal how a physically disabled teenager quickly broke the wealth barrier with no website or product and very little cash of his own. Okay. This copy converts about 2 times better than the previous copy. So how much was it making before? 2,000. So what happens if you put up new copy and it converts twice as good, assuming you're getting to the same level of traffic? Well, doesn't your income go up to 4,000? All right, like I said, this isn't really that hard. This is just all pretty simple stuff. Now, what did he do to increase the conversion rate? He just rewrote the sales letter. He actually hired one of the best copywriters around to write this sales letter, and that's why it's so good, but it was well worth it. Paid for itself rather quickly. Okay, now here's the second case study. This is another one that I did last year. This website, can everyone see this website? This is pretty good, right? Pretty nice. So, looks like it was designed in '96. And I think it actually was. I'm not kidding. It was. Because remember back in 1996, you couldn't even have tables. Everything had to be centered on the page and there was no tables. For those of you who were on the internet back then, you remember that. I think I got on the internet for the first time, it would have been 1995. And this is how websites looked back then. It has, a huge graphic at the top that all it does is says the name. The headline is awful. The headline is Diamonds at Wholesale Prices. Diamonds 0.01 carat to over 20 carats. The web's largest available diamond inventory. Now, how many of the sane people in this room would purchase a diamond from this website? Okay. Well, the funny thing is, folks, that business did a 1999 profit of $120,000 off of that exact website, verified by their merchant statement, because they faxed me their merchant. The gross was about $600,000. In diamonds, just to keep it in your head, the diamond business is usually the margin is 20%. So they did $600,000 in gross, roughly, net of $120,000. So that's how much a month? $10,000 a month. They had 1,200 past customers, monthly expense of less than $100 for phones, website, etc. They were advertising the business for sale on eBay. Now, how big of an eBay ad do you think you'd have to sell a $120,000 auction? Don't you think it'd have to be pretty detailed, pretty intense? All the information, facts and figures. Well, these guys had one paragraph. So they had listed at $120,000, had one paragraph of text, And then they wondered why nobody purchased their business on eBay. Okay, so, that states that I found on eBay. They weren't, $120,000 is actually a pretty decent price, wouldn't you say? 1 year of net profit. Well, I originally, talked to them in January, and they weren't desperate enough. We started talking seriously about 6 months later, because all I said was, when I talked to them, I said, well, when you really get serious and you really want to sell this business, I will buy it. Come talk to me when you're serious and when you want to talk some serious prices. I ended up buying the business in August of 2000 for $18,000 cash. That's actually wrong. Let's see. Wait a second. No, it's $18,000 cash and $10,000 on a 4-month note for a total price of $28,000. Okay, so how much did I pay for the business? $18,000. The $10,000 that came out of his money anyway, his income stream, so to speak, his recurring revenue. I just happened to own it at the time that I gave it back to him. So if the business is earning $120,000 net profit per year, or $10,000 a month, and I paid $18,000, how long did it take to recoup my $18,000 in cash? Less than 2 months, 1.8 months. Okay, so where's the risk in that? None, because if I did nothing, if I changed the website, not at all, just answered the phone, just did everything they did, and sold the diamonds, I would recoup the money in 1.8 months. Okay, the crazy thing, folks, is there's hundreds of these businesses out there. It's just like real estate, except better. Everybody talks about how buying real estate property is, the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? Well, let's use that analogy. Let's say you find some fixer-upper, right? And you make a good deal on it. The seller's motivated. So you can make some money there, right? Just because it's a motivated seller. Now, how are you going to make money when you sell it? If it's a fixer-upper, aren't you going to have to do something, right? Maybe new carpet, new paint. I don't know. What else do you do to fix up a fixer-upper? Clean it up. Cut the grass. Maybe put in a fence. Things like that. But how much can you really increase the value with those repairs? 10,000, 15, 20,000? That's reasonable. Maybe 10 or 20%. Maybe 30%. I don't know. I'm not in real estate. But how is that different from a website? Let's say you could find a motivated seller of a website that's making money. So you buy it for a good price. Then what can you do to fix it up? How much fix-up can you do? Isn't it basically unlimited? Isn't that what we're talking about this entire seminar? Yeah. You can change the sales copy. We already showed you an example where just changing the sales copy doubled the conversion rate. You could capture emails. You could have a back end. You could cross-sell, upsell, downsell. You could have a better offer, a better guarantee. You could get more traffic. You could get better traffic. See, now the list goes on. And that's why the things that you're learning in the seminar are so valuable, because you can apply them not just on your own website that you have right now, but every web business or website you acquire in the future, from here on out. So that's why it's so valuable to know these things. Okay, so let's talk about this diamond business just a little bit more. So what did I do immediately after I bought the business? Well, the first thing I did is I redesigned the site. And, I'm no graphic artist, and I'm no professional copywriter, that's for sure. So I redid the copy and the site myself, and I'll show you what it looked like in the next minute. So how much did that cost me? $0. Okay, how many of you have $0 to invest? Okay, everybody, right? All right. So you can do that. I mean, the first one may take you a little while, maybe a little bit harder than you'd like, but you can do it. I got an autoresponder. Ooh, that was spendy. That was $97 for a year. Okay, why would I get an autoresponder? Don't I want to capture the names and emails of people who come to the site? Yeah. Okay. I bought a program called Zeus. It's a linking strategies tool, and if we have time, we might talk about that a little bit later. Basically, it enables you to get hundreds and hundreds of other diamond and jewelry related websites to link to you. We got about 600 or 700 other websites to link back to us within a few months. I signed up for GoTo. Well, I guess I wrote this a while ago. Overture, the pay-per-click search engine, right? And I was spending about $100 a month in Overture advertising. I signed up for an answering service. Oh, that's okay. Let me tell you that story. Okay, when I was initially contacted people about buying the business, they said, well, one of the main reasons we need to sell is we both have jobs and we have to go to work during the day, and the phone rings for the diamond business and we can't answer it. Okay. And I said, well, have you ever heard of call forwarding, *72? They said, oh, yeah, we tried that, but, we're just getting a lot of calls in the middle of the day, and, my boss just doesn't like it. And so I told them, I go, well, there's these services, like doctors and dentists use that it's kind of like a 24/7 answering service. They answer it in the name of your company and take a message. At least it's not going to voicemail. They're like, yeah, but, that's like $80 a month. I'm serious, people. You cannot understand how short-sighted people can be when you're dealing with these things. Okay, so I set up a 24/7 answering service, paid them about $80 a month. So whenever I didn't want to answer the phone or whatever at night, I just call forward the number, and they would answer, Diamond Brokers, how can I help you? They'd say, yeah, I'm looking for a 1-carat round, whatever. They go, okay, well, none of our sales consultants are in the office right now. Let me take down some information from you, and I'll have one of them get back to you first thing in the morning. Easy as pie. Within the first month of setting up that answering service, well, actually within the first week, I sold a $5,000 diamond to a gentleman from Saudi Arabia that called me in the middle of the night on that. So do you think it was worth the $80 investment per month? Plus, when I was busy working during the day on my other businesses, I would just call for it just so I wouldn't have to answer the phone. After that, I actually hired not a sales consultant, a commissioned salesperson to sell the diamonds for me. Okay, I was going to get a database and shopping cart, and that would have cost me about $1,000. But actually, I just ran out of time. Oh, did I mention that the site that was doing $120,000 a year net did not have a shopping cart? Okay, so it didn't. All you could do is call on the phone and order. And it still worked. So don't get caught up on that there's all these rules and laws. If it works, it works. And I hired 2 search engine optimization companies. What's that? Well, they basically optimize their site so it appear highly in the search engines under keyword phrases. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so here's the site that I designed. Now, I'm sure there's some webmasters in the room. That's not a very, it's all right, isn't it? It's better. Did you notice that there's actually a headline, a subhead, and an offer? The headline is, don't pay 300% markups to a traditional jeweler for inferior diamonds. We guarantee that your loose diamond will appraise for at least 200% of the purchase price, or we'll buy it back. What's that called? That's the offer, right? Okay, did I come up with that offer all by myself? No. Have you ever heard of a little thing called Costco? If you go into Costco, they still have these brochures. This is the honest to goodness truth. You can go there today. Look for a brochure. They sell loose diamonds. Pick up the brochure, open it up, and on the 3rd page, in really small type, their offer is, here at Costco, we guarantee that your loose diamond will appraise for 200% of the purchase price, or we'll buy it back. I took that offer and made that my headline. Because it's a pretty dang good offer, don't you think? Yeah. Okay. Then, the subhead, discover how easy it is to find the perfect loose diamond for up to 37% lower than retail. Okay. Here on the left, there's a capture mechanism. Click here to get your free How to Price a Diamond guide. It's a sign up for a free 7-day diamond pricing guide worth well over $30 on how to learn how to price a diamond without becoming a gemologist. So do you think I wrote that myself? No. I did a search on the internet for diamond information. I found a guy in Colorado that had a site all about diamonds. He was one of the E's. He was an engineer, right? So he knew everything there was about diamonds, but he didn't make any money. So he let me use this course that he'd already written. He licensed it to me for free, and I used that as my capture mechanism. Okay, so I did all of this. I put there's one picture of a diamond on the entire site. I actually took that picture myself with my digital camera of one of the diamonds that I was selling. So it's not a perfect picture, but hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, and about 2 weeks after I changed the site, this is the 13.56 carat diamond that I sold off that website with no shopping cart to a person on AOL. Okay, 13.56 carats, that's about the size of a quarter. That goes for $250,000. So within 2 weeks of buying the business, what's 20% on $250,000? $50,000. That's how much money I made selling a $250,000 diamond within 2 weeks of being in the diamond business. Largest diamond ever sold on the internet that I've ever been able to research. Largest diamond that my supplier had ever sold in 27 years in business. And I sold it within 2 weeks. Now, why did I sell that diamond? Because I changed the website. I mean, it was at least a decent website. It wasn't perfect. Okay. Okay. So after about 8 months, I kind of got tired of the diamond business because, you actually have to do work every day. And people they do call you on the phone and ask to buy diamonds. I mean, considering we didn't have a shopping cart, I guess they could be excused for that. I mean, there was no other way for them to order. I hired a commission sales guy, and he was in my office, and, that kind of bugged me because he was a nice guy and all. He sold a lot of diamonds, but he was talking on the phone all the time while I'm trying to, surf the web. And I mean, you people laugh, but this is the truth. So I ended up selling the business. How did I sell it? I listed it in the classified ad section of my local paper. I live in Provo, Utah. It's about 100,000 people in Provo. It's a college town, medium-sized town. Only got about 3 people that called. 2 of them made offers of the business. I sold the business the next week for $110,000 cash, which is obviously a pretty low price, but $110,000 cash is always nice. So I took that, was out of the diamond business, and the nice thing when you sell a business, how do you sell a business, a web business? The important thing, the key word is packaging. You have to sell the complete package. When I sold that business, I sold my computers. Let's see, I sold a desktop computer, a laptop computer, a network setting, a network hub, an HP 5-in-1 printer deal, a nice digital camera, all my diamond tools, the customer files, everything, all the software, Goldmine that we had set up on the computers. Well, how much is that stuff really worth at retail? Maybe $2,000. I mean, it's used computers. I mean, having the software set up and everything, that's invaluable to the actual buyer. To everybody else, it's worthless. So I sold all that with it, added an additional $15,000 under the price, and went out and bought all new computers, much better, faster the next day for $3,000. Okay, so the important thing when you sell it, after you fix up one of these businesses, you sell it off. You got to sell it off as a package. People want to buy a business in a box. That's what you need to sell. If you're going to sell your website, it has to have everything. You can't tell them, well, our accounting system doesn't work that great. You're going to have to fix that, and I'm going to have to explain to you how we, finagle this little thing over here that we work with. No, it has to be a complete system from A to Z, and that's what I had to do with this diamond business. I sat down in one day and basically dictated into a tape recorder. Here's exactly everything I've done for this business. Listen to this tape 5 or 6 times. You'll know everything I know about the business. Don't call me because I don't know anything else. I mean, it was the truth. I'd already told them everything. Even after being in the business for about 8 months, I really didn't know that much about diamonds. I mean, I could sell diamonds every day, day in, day out. I knew, 100% more than the people who worked in diamond stores. But does that really mean that I was an expert on diamonds? No. I mean, it's kind of a passing hobby, but that's about it. Okay. So, does any of these case studies get your brain turning? Okay. Well, we're going to show you some other things. Okay. Here's two places to look for these businesses for sale. Now, here's a partial answer to why people would sell web businesses like this for so cheap. Well, the first thing is how is a website different than real estate? What happens if you want to get your home appraised and find out how much it's worth? How many people can you call in your local town? 100, right? You can call anybody. They can tell you within 5 or 10% how much it's worth. How many people can you call and they'll tell you how much your website's worth? Nobody. Now, there are services out there that will appraise your domain name. Now, how much is that worth? Nothing. How much is a domain name worth if it's not bringing in any money? 0. So, that's the thing. So that's one of the reasons that people sell these businesses so cheaply. The other thing is they're engineers. They just have been working in the business. They have no idea how to have the business make more money, more profits, easier, quicker, or anything like that. So they're stuck. The people who I bought the diamond business from, one thing I neglected to mention, the wife of the couple, she worked as a sales manager in a retail diamond store. She knew everything, and she had for 20 years. So she knew more than I would ever hope to know about diamonds and selling diamonds. But did she know anything about selling diamonds on the internet? No. All they did is they answered their email and occasionally answered the phone when they're home. That was it. Okay. So we're going to show you a few different things. We mentioned how one of the main things that I did to get traffic was implementing linking strategies and did a little bit of search engine optimization. Okay. Usually in competitive markets, and by competitive markets I'm talking like internet marketing, online gambling, MLM, and things like that. How long does search engine optimization last? A couple months, maybe. I mean, a lot of people. And I talk with Armand about this a lot. One of the biggest failures that people have in internet marketing is they try to sell internet marketing. You know, why is that a problem? Well, because it's one, it's very competitive. Two, prices are cutthroat. Nobody wants to sell their information for any more than $19 or $20. You know, if you have a $300 course that you sell physically, you can bet that somebody's going to try to create a $19 ebook and sell it on eBay the next week with reprint rights. It's just very, very competitive. Why would it make sense to go into less competitive, less technical markets like, say, the diamond business? Well, one thing is the results that you get and the time you invest in linking and search engine optimization, those things basically last almost forever. Okay, let's talk a little bit about keywords before I show this to you. Now, if you were to think of, if you're going to search for loose diamonds on the internet or diamonds, what would be the number one thing you would type into the search engines? Diamonds, right, is the number one thing. Diamond or diamonds, which is essentially, for all intents and purposes, the same keyword. Okay, did you know that the second most popular keyword related to diamonds is the phrase loose diamonds? I would have never guessed that in a million years. How did I figure that out? There's a service that all of you should subscribe to, and it's actually a UK company, so that's kind of weird. Just kidding. Okay, wordtracker.com. What does this site do? It shows you exactly what keywords people search for on the internet across the vast majority of search engines. If you notice scrolling across the top, it tells you number 11 most searched for keyword right now is prom dresses. Why is that? Let's see, it's January 31st, it must be prom season. I can bet you, if you watch this list, that the phrase science fair projects will be on there somewhere. No, because when do they hold science fairs? In the spring. The reason I know that, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, I used to own a science fair project site. I sold science fair stuff online. People Finder, number 29. I used to sell a missing people search service. If you want to get good ideas for what to sell on the internet besides internet marketing / how to make money, go to WordTracker. One thing you can do is watch the top of the screen. The other thing you can do is they have a service. I can't see where it is on here exactly. Oh, your free trial. They will send you every week I think it's the 200 most searched for phrases on the internet. Okay, would you believe that usually in the top 50, the top 50 most searched for phrases on the internet, one of them is paintball. Another one is paintball guns. And in the top 500 somewhere is paintball markers, which is the politically correct way to say a paintball gun. Well, back in '97, I had a paintball site called thepaintballstore.com. How easy do you think it would be to sell paintball stuff to people who are already searching for paintball with no competition of people, like John Reese or other people selling internet marketing stuff or any of the other speakers? It's a lot easier, trust me. A lot easier. Okay. So anyway, on WordTracker. I went into WordTracker, found out the most searched for keywords, phrases related to the diamond business. The top two are diamonds, and the second one, well, the second of the two is loose diamonds. Let's go to Google, and I sold that business, let's see, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. It's been a while. Anyway, I haven't been in the diamond business for at least 18 months. So all this work that I did 18 months ago in a competitive industry, something that, there's a lot of competition and people are clawing and trying to get to the top of the search engines in, wouldn't my rankings be gone by now? Yeah. Okay, well, let's type in diamonds. Okay, the number one site is diamonds.net. Scroll down, diamonds.com. Okay, it's not on the first page right now. It bumps around. It's usually number 8 or number 9. Today, if you look right here, ediamondbrokers.com, that's my site, ranked number 11 on Google for a very, very targeted and popular keyword phrase. What about my second phrase, loose diamonds? Oh, there it is, number 1. Now, remember, this is work I did 18 months ago. The diamonds one usually fluctuates. Sometimes it's as high as number 5. Today I was actually surprised it was as low as number 11. For loose diamonds, it's always number 1. Okay, now, if you didn't, a couple points. What if you didn't know which keywords people were searching on? Well, you wouldn't know which ones to choose, would you? I originally thought that the phrase wholesale diamonds would be a big one. So I also optimized the site for wholesale diamonds. Let's see. And this is just me looking at it. I really don't know where it's at. Okay, it's number 3 for wholesale diamonds right now. Now, isn't Google basically the biggest search engine around now? I mean, now with their whole Yahoo thing, with the Yahoo fallout. Okay. Now, I can guarantee you, if my search phrases were internet marketing or online marketing or web marketing, I would be nowhere in the top 5 million if 18 months have passed. Okay, so I really think that's a critical thing to take away. Sell stuff that not everybody else is selling. Sell it in markets where people are already searching for that type of stuff. Sell what people want to buy, and just use the internet marketing knowledge that you've applied here. If you take nothing else away from the seminar, I would counsel you to do that. Once you have a site that's up and running in some little niche and you're making money, go into something else. Once you have that making money, sell something else. The cycle goes on and on and on. Just in the last 4 years, like I mentioned, I've sold paintball equipment. Paintball is always a perennial hot seller. We did, from the top of my head, I think at the best month, we did $40,000 a month selling paintball equipment on the internet. We paid $0 for advertising. All we did was linking strategies. We got other people to link to us, because in paintball there's a high passion. People who are into it are really into it, right? So they have all these websites that show pictures of them with their paintball guns and their friends. So we hired the guy that I'll affectionately call the Big Fat Slob. That's what we call him. He was a nice guy, but he was big. And he was a slob. We hired him, and that was his whole job. All he did is he called those sites on the phone, said, "Hey, we run the paintballstore.com. Can you link to us? We'll send you a $10 gift certificate," or whatever. And we'd get hundreds and hundreds of links to us. The same thing with the loose diamond market. I think this works on Google. Can't you type link : and it'll show you how many people link to a site? We'll see. I know it works on Alta Vista. We'll just see. I mean, this wasn't part of my presentation. I just wanted to see how many people link to eagadiamondbrokers.com. Right now on Google, you're showing you 1 of 10 results, 446 total matches. So there's 446 other jewelry and diamond sites out there that link to my diamond site. So if somebody's on a diamond site and then they come to my site, would you say they're a pretty qualified visitor? Yeah, they've been on 2 diamond sites now. So obviously they're not there by accident.
How did you do that when you just typed in?
Link : and then the URL. That'll show you on any major search engine like Alta Vista or Google, will return to you the number of other people that link back to you. And in most of those searches that we did for like loose diamonds, and wholesale diamonds, the people that appeared higher than me in the rankings, one of them has several websites called BlueNile.com.
This is the end of side 1. Please turn your cassette over.
Based out of Seattle, Washington. They have 20 million in venture capital. So yeah, they did do a better job than me. They were number 5 when I was number 11. But how much money did I spend compared to their 20 million? Nothing. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about that. I think that's a really critical fact to take away, is that yes, ebooks are fantastic. I think they're great. Yes, info products are fantastic. That's great. But when it comes down to it, the easiest things online to sell are what people are already looking for. What are people looking for? Go to wordtracker.com. We'll give you a list every week. Science fair projects every year about January is huge. We had a website where we did that. Let me show you another website that I did a couple years ago. Hobbytron.com. Okay, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the funny thing is I've kind of been involved in this kind of stuff from a corporate side for a few years too. My original internet business was a piece of software called ShopSite. It was we sold it from iCentral.com. Has anybody ever heard of Yahoo Store? Yeah, well, we were the direct competitor to Yahoo Store. Yahoo Store sold to Yahoo bought it for $60 million. Well, 6 months prior to that, we sold our software to a fine organization called Open Market for $11 million, which they promptly kind of destroyed the software. Our CFO just bought the company back for $125,000 last year. Same company that we sold them for $11 million. And then for another venture, we raised $2.5 million for the concept of, we called it Little Fish Commerce was the name of the company. Has anybody, everybody's been to Amazon, right? And they have a very, very good search engine on the site, a very good shopping cart, recommendation engine, wish list, all that kind of stuff, right? They have a fantastic commerce system. And it ties in with their fulfillment and their accounting and their general ledger and all that. Well, how much do you think they spent on that software? Millions, right? How many websites do they use it on? One. Well, what if you built a system like that, like Amazon, but used it on hundreds and hundreds of sites? Little niche sites, like selling model train stuff, selling paintball equipment, selling robotic kits and stuff. This is one of the sites that we launched with that venture capital money. This site doesn't look anything fancy, right? It's just pretty basic. It still runs on the ShopSite software that we developed in 97, 98. It does $2 million a year selling robotic kits, components, like the crystal radio kits, the make your own burglar alarm kits, the fighting robots that you can program. That's what the site sells. They do $2 million a year selling this stuff. So don't be totally swayed into just going into info products, which I highly believe in info products. Don't get me wrong. Okay, so let's recap about the buying internet properties. Here's everything you need to know about buying internet properties. You're going to write down a short list. This is everything I know. I really don't know much. I just go out and do it. First thing is verification. We already covered that, right? How do you verify income? How do you verify it? It's a question. Merchant statements, ClickBank, whatever. Do you buy, what kind of businesses are you looking to buy? Ones in good niches, preferably with a really lousy website. Because think about it, if they're making money with a really lousy website, what's going to happen when you fix up the website? More money from one day to the next. Okay, now a lot of people when they look at web businesses, they think, oh, well, they say they're making $1,000 a month and they've proven that, but man, that website sure is awful. Isn't that a good sign? That's the perfect sign. Okay. How much should you be willing to pay for one of these internet businesses? My general rule is 4 to 6 months of net profit. Okay, so let's go on the low end. If it's 4 months of net profit, what's your return on your investment per month? Say the business is doing $10,000 net. You pay $40,000, not all up front. I mean, we're just using general terms. Aren't you making 25% return on your money per month? So how many people would like to make 25% return on your money per month? This is how you do it. Okay. What if you pay 6 months of net profit? That drops it to, I don't know, 18% per month or something like that. Still pretty dang good in anybody's book. Okay. So how do you negotiate with people that are selling these businesses? Where do you find them? Well, eBay is a fantastic place. That's actually I found most of them on eBay. If you go to ebay.com, look here on the left-hand side. There's a category called Business and Industrial. Click on that. There's a section right here, Businesses for Sale. There's actually a subset of that I go right to, Websites for Sale. So just bookmark that page. It'll always be in your bookmarks. You can just pull it up. Right now it shows there's 3,270 items found. Now, of those, the gentleman mentioned, probably 95% are absolute garbage. What they're trying to sell is what are called cloned sites. Can anybody give me a description of a clone site? It's a template site, right? What they'll usually say in the auction is, let's see, I've been in the XYZ business for a year, and I make $100,000 a year. I'm selling you this website. Well, what they don't tell you, and where the lie is that they didn't make the $100,000 a year with that website. They just made a copy of the website and sold that to you. So that's why verification is so critical. Never buy a template or clone site. Because what's the value if there's no sales? Nothing. It could have a fantastic domain. It could be a very, very nice looking site, but it doesn't really matter if it's not making any money. The only thing that matters in this whole business is how much money does it make. That's everything else, who cares? You can fix that. If there's traffic coming in and it's making sales, that's all that matters. Okay. What else do you need to know? How do you negotiate with people that are selling businesses? Most people will usually have some kind of idea in their mind of what they want to get, but that is often, there's two cases. In one case, they're going to be extremely unrealistic, and they're going to say, well, I read in Fortune magazine, that's the first clue, I read in Fortune magazine that this guy sold his business for 5 times the annual revenue. So I think that's what I want to get. So all you do is hand them your card, say, hey, anytime you're willing to sell your business for 4 to 6 months of net profit, give me a call, I'll buy it. Walk out the door. The other side of people, you have people who are actually pretty reasonable and in the right price range, but need a little negotiation. Has anybody ever taken a negotiation course? Negotiation courses are about the best money you could ever spend. Let's see. I'm trying to think of it's another English guy. Roger Dawson. Roger Dawson's one. That's the one. And then there's the Karis guy. Okay, I listened to Roger Dawson's course, Secrets of Power Negotiating. And even though he's British, it was very good. So we just have to joke. We have like 3 British or 4 British people in the room. So you got to make fun of somebody. So no offense intended. I mean, now one of the key things you're going to learn in a negotiating course is the positioning. What's the most important rule in negotiating? Never say your price. Why do you always want the other person to say the price? Well, one thing they might start lower than you originally guessed. What's the second thing? Well, if they say the price, aren't you always then negotiating down from that price? If you say a price as the buyer, aren't you negotiating up from that price? So the best thing is, the rule of thumb is, always have them say the price, because you might be pleasantly surprised. You may be expecting $50,000 and they say $5,000. And then you go negotiate down from there to $3,000. There's what I call the 7 magic words of power. Whatever they say, they may tell you, well, I want to get 5 years of annual revenue. I want to get this. It has to be in cash up front. All you do is you say, now, yeah, I know you said all that, but what's the lowest price you'll take? And listen for their answer. And then they'll give you a whole nother dialogue on why they might be willing to accept a lower price. And then what do you say after that? Well, I know you said all that, but what's the lowest price you take? You just keep going down and down and down. That's exactly what I did on the diamond business. That was like 2 years ago. I had just finished listening to. Man, I should send that Roger Dawson guy a testimonial, because I had just finished listening to that Roger Dawson course. They were asking $120,000. We walked out 30 minutes later, and I'd written them a check for $19,000, and I owned the business. So that's how powerful these techniques can be, and it's really critical that you learn these things if you're going to be involved in this. When you buy a business, it really is a person on person. You really don't want to buy stuff from corporations. Anytime you deal with corporations, you're going to have attorneys. Anytime you deal with attorneys, it's going to cost you a lot of money just to get a deal. What you want to deal is with individuals where you can have a simple agreement. 1-page, 2-page thing. You still have your attorney sign it, but you don't have to get him involved until you're actually ready to finalize the deal. Okay. eBay is a fantastic place to look for them. Right here it shows there's 3,270 different businesses for sale, of which that means how many pages of results? 72 pages of results. Okay. Now, here's a key for scanning through these. Only look at the ones that are over $1,000. Because if it's less than $1,000, it probably isn't a real business. It's probably somebody selling software, and they listed in the wrong category, or someone selling reprint rights to Armin Morin's pop-up generator. I'm serious. You'll see that in here all the time. I think you did a great job with that. You want to look for things that already have a decent bid. Another strategy is sometimes the best thing to do is wait for, if it's something you're interested in and they have a poor auction ad, but you can kind of read between the lines, You want to buy stuff that the listing expires on eBay with 0 bids. Because how motivated are they going to be when they did all this work to write an eBay auction and it expires with 0 bids? To them, the world has rejected them. Life is over. Nobody wants to buy their little business. So you wait a few days after it expires and you call them on the phone and say, hey, I saw your business for sale. Are you still trying to sell it? What are they going to say? Well, heck yeah, I'm still trying to sell. And you start the negotiation from there. Okay. So of these 72 pages, I would be willing to bet that if we look through them, we're going to find about 7. 1 per page, 1/10 of 1 per page, 1 per 10 pages, that's actually a real business that somebody is actually trying to sell. Is that a lot of work looking through those? Yeah, it can be. It usually I'm pretty experienced at it now. It usually takes me about 40 minutes to look all the way through them. Because I only scan the ones that have at least a $1,000 price, go to the next page, $1,000 price, next page. And then if I find one that looks interesting, I don't read it all right then. I just print it out and read through them slowly later. The other thing you do immediately is you send an email to the seller, either an email or you call them on the phone. You just want to see if they're alive. I mean, if they don't call you back or send you an email back after you say you want to buy their internet business, they're not serious. I mean, they should be calling you back the next day or within 24 hours. So that's a really key to do that. There's kind of a shortcut to this method. I actually have a membership site where I, 1, teach people how to do this. 2, I have a guy hired that basically does this almost full time, that he looks through the eBay listings and all these other sites and finds businesses and posts them on our membership site. You all get a month membership to that just to try it out. So that's a little bit of a shortcut. Some people like to actually be in the trenches and go out and find them themselves. That's great. We showed you exactly how to do that. Other people just want to be notified anytime a new one comes up. I guess we could open this section up to a few questions. Then I'm going to talk just a little bit about what I truly believe is the next big thing in internet marketing and probably the easiest way for the average guy to make a fortune on the internet. We're going to take, let's say, 2 or 3 questions, and then we're going to go on to the next subject real quick.
What about the customer list from the website that we're buying? How do we put a value on that list?
In most businesses, if they have a customer list, all that simply means is the customer wandered in from somewhere and bought, and they've never contacted them again. Oftentimes, the easiest way to recoup some of your investment is send some sort of special offer to the existing customer list. And that's just standard direct marketing. You want to receive all the software. If they have Goldmine or Act or whatever, you want to get all that software because that'll save you a couple $1,000s. The average internet business I think probably has $2,000 to $3,000 of software between things like Web Position Gold, Dreamweaver, front page, all that kind of stuff. You're going to want all the testing and tracking that they've ever done. Now, how many of them are going to actually have that? Probably not very many, but if they have it, get it. What else are you going to want? Let's see. You're going to want every asset that they have related to the business. Like in the diamond business, we had a digital camera, we had the tweezers, we had they're called jeweler's loops, the 10-power loops that used to look at the stones, all that kind of stuff. Not that it's particularly all that valuable, you just don't want to have to go out of your way to go and find it and buy it again. That's a good question. Okay, so the question back here was, how do you sell off these businesses? Okay, when you're buying the businesses, in most cases you're going to buy something that's either in shambles or resembles shambles. It's just kind of disorganized. They're making money in spite of themselves. I think that's the real thing to take away. They know everything they need to know about this particular industry, but they have no idea about marketing. How many small businesses in America are like that? Most of them, aren't they? So, they're not going to have any super fancy, system, database tracking, but you want everything they have, okay? Now, we already talked about the fix-up, and actually, this entire seminar, the big seminar, is about how to fix up websites, if you think about it in that vein. We talked about improving the copy. I actually have 2 top copywriters I recommend that I do everything with. The first one is the copywriter that recently wrote a letter from Brian Keith Voiles. And actually, if you're interested in this, you need to approach me afterwards, and I can give you some more information. Everybody's heard of Yannick Silver, right? Okay. Well, he recently did a promotion that he made well over $150,000 on sending the email one time to his customer list. Well, the copywriter that wrote that letter is by the name of Brian Keith Voiles. Brian's usual copywriting rate, and this is exactly what Yannick paid, $12,500. Okay, well, that's not a bad return considering Yannick mailed the letter one time and made at least $150,000. Right? Okay, well, Brian Keith Voiles is actually the guy who got me involved in the whole internet business and everything from the get-go. He's one of the best guys I've ever met in my entire life. And he's actually trying to raise funds for a different project that he's working on right now. He told me yesterday that he would let a few people, if they're interested, he would write the exact same quantity and quality of copy that he wrote for Yannick Silver for $12,500 for $4,000. If you're interested in that, you need to contact me, and I'll give you a little piece that he wrote up, and then you just contact Brian separately. That has nothing to do with me. He's just a very dear and close friend. So if you're in the market for getting some fantastic copy, talk to Brian, and I'll get with me. I'll give you the information. Okay. The second copywriter that I recommend and use a lot as well is a guy by the name of it's actually Michael Fortin. He's up in Canada. His website is successdoctor.com. Just an example of the copy that he wrote for me. I originally wrote some copy for a membership site that I own, buyingwebbusinesses.com. And, I spent 2 weeks on it. And, I really thought it was going to work fantastic. And I did a test on it. It only converted 0.9%. Not very good. On a $29 recurring membership product. So not that great. The average member does stay 6 months, but still, I would have expected a lot better. Anyway, Fortin was, let's see. He recently, the most recent prices I've seen quoted are about $3,000 for like an 18 or 20-page sales letter. He's the most economical, top-flight copywriter that I know of, between him and Brian Keith Voiles. If you actually look around on the web, you can see some of the most impressive sales letters on the web were written by him. There's a couple very, very high-powered internet marketers that use him exclusively. This letter right here was written by... It's spelled out, D-O-C-T-O-R. Michael Fortin. So those are the two copywriters I recommend. Brian Keith Voiles, like I mentioned, has a special right now. He's going to take a few people on at $4,000 instead of his normal rate at $12,500. He actually doesn't even really write much copy anymore. He's trying to get into. He's actually been a professional futures trader for the last few years. So this is actually a pretty rare opportunity. So if you want to get a hold of him or Michael Fortin from successdoctor.com. Okay. So here's the new copy that Michael wrote. When we initially launched this, to qualify to the same quality of traffic that got 0.9%, the copy that Fortin wrote, he wrote it in under 48 hours. It's 18 pages, converted over 4%. So, it was well worth the time and money invested to get him to do that. Okay. What else? Okay, when you're selling off a business, you want to sell it as a package. To a person buying a business, the computers, the software, and all those things have a tremendous value. Because if they had to replace that and set it up themselves, it'd take them weeks to set it back up. So try to sell everything as a package. If you're selling a website business that does $3,000 or $4,000 a month in net, sell them the computer with all the software. How much is a computer worth? $1,000? I mean, just add $3,000 onto the price tag. Tell them it comes with all the software. Go out the next day. Buy yourself a brand new computer. That's usually how I get new computers, is I sell off my old ones. Truly and honestly, the easiest way to make money on the internet right now, today, is with a membership site. What's a membership site? Well, it can be anything. I mean, I guess the real question is what are you doing right now to get recurring income? Yeah, we can all sell ebooks or information products or physical products. But do you have anything that creates income every single month, month in, month out, with you only having to do the work one time? If you haven't done that yet, I would strongly urge you to do so. The first dollar that you make in residual recurring income is the most important money that you'll ever make in your entire life. Isn't that the whole premise behind MLM? I mean, MLMers get, just fascinated with this whole concept of residual income. That's what you can do with a paid membership site. Just to show you an example, this is my paid membership site, buyingwebbusinesses.com. It's an 18-page sales letter. It talks about, buying and selling properties just like we've talked about here. It's, except it goes on for 18 pages. Also in a lot more detail. It shows my old Diamond website. It shows the new website. Kind of explains the process of fixing things up, buying things for pennies on the dollar and then selling them off. Gives the digital real estate example, all that. Just goes through everything we've talked about here. Okay. Then it signs them up for a $29 a month membership site. And the membership, they get audio files. Like I mentioned, there's a discussion board where I have a guy hired, basically full-time. That's all he does is post new businesses for sale on there. In fact, several people in the audience have already purchased businesses from that exact same site. Armand's done it. I know several other people have done it as well that are members of the site already. The key thing to take away is not the topic or anything like that, is that it's residual. Every single month, if people stay a member of the site, I get $29 charged to their credit card that comes directly to me. Okay. I launched this in about May or June of last year, so it's been 6-7 months. And I've run, 4 e-zine ads. One of them was a joint venture, which means I didn't have to pay any money for it up front. One of them flopped miserably, so I actually got some make good ads. And the other 2 were just in, kind of smaller e-zines, 15,000, 10,000. So, how much money do you think a membership site like that would be taking in if I've only run 4 ads? It has an affiliate program, haven't really pushed it. I've announced it to my list a few times, and that's about it. What do you think would be a good income off that site? $2,000 a month? It actually makes $4,000 a month net. That's net to me, after paying affiliates, after all that kind of stuff. It's probably $6,000 a month gross. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to gross. All that matters to me is what's my check. All the other stuff, that's just whatever. 4 ads, people. Now, why is that such a big deal? Well, because I had people who joined on the first day I promoted it, and they're still members. 7 months later, what's 7 times 29? 210. Actually, before I officially launched it in May, end of May, beginning of June last year, I test launched it in January, just to my own list. I have about 10 or 15 people that signed up in January of last year, so it's been a year now. So they paid me 12 times 29, more than 290. I was, 300 and something. $340 for access to my site over the past year. How much interaction did I have to have with the customer? None. It's all done automatically. The great thing about membership sites is the software to run a membership site was previously unavailable as early as 18 months ago. Now there's plenty of options out there. I use probably the simplest option. In the future, I'm sure I'll switch to something different. I use a system from iBill, iBill.com. The cost is pretty reasonable. It's free. iBill.com. Yep. Now, there's 3 key components you have to have when you start a membership site. The first one is recurring billing, right? How many of you want to start a membership site and offer lifetime access for $100? No. That's exactly the wrong way to go. In fact, Terry Dean, he and I actually, along with Ted Siuba, we wrote a course on membership sites. And Terry Dean estimates that he lost about $1 million in revenue to $2 million because his original website that he launched was pay once and be a member forever with no other income coming in. So that's a big mistake. It has to have a recurring component. Okay, so your software has to be able to handle that. That's really key. The second thing is it has to have an affiliate program attached to the recurring billing. Now, what's the deal with most affiliate programs? Well, you make a sale, you get paid, right? Now, with a membership site, it's so much easier to get affiliates because you tell them, look, you make a sale, you get paid this month, and next month, and the next month, as long as that customer stays a member of the site. You keep getting a check. How much easier do you think it is to recruit affiliates for something like that? Way easier. Okay, so that's your system has to integrate that. The third, okay, we have about just a few minutes left. Could we get the handouts passed out? Okay. The third thing is it has to integrate your username and password scheme. Most membership sites that you go to, you have a special username and password that just applies to you. Now, all 3 of these things are included in the iBill setup, and it's free. So you get the recurring billing that automatically charges your customers every month, 2-tier affiliate program, so you can have other people promote it and make money, and the third is, what was the third? Username and password, just seeing if you're listening. So those are critical things. Now once you have that, let me show you another really cool thing that you can do on membership sites. I got this based on my friend Stephen Pierce. Anybody ever heard of Stephen Pierce? Okay, he wrote a little book called The Whole Truth About Internet Marketing. It's the-whole-truth.com. If you listen to nothing else I said in this hour, go buy that book. You'll thank me later, trust me. Let me show you an example of what happened. On my membership site, I'm just showing you this because this is an actual live example that you can all use. On my membership site, just by changing the pop-up, I doubled the conversion rate, more than doubled the conversion rate overnight. On this site, I used to have a pop-up that would pop up in about 20 seconds that would capture the name and email so I could follow up with them. I offered them a 4-day free mini guide, right? Because I figure, hey, if they're not going to buy it right now, maybe I can further educate them and get them to buy in the future. Okay, only problem is that I was capturing about 18.5% of those names, but it wasn't really turning into as much sales as I would have liked. Say that again? Right, that's the wrong pop-up actually. I don't know why this. Okay, there it is. My old pop-up, instead of this one, just basically used to say, get our 4-day mini guide, right? And so I was capturing 18.5% of the emails, which is pretty good, right? Okay, so every time I got 100 visitors, I get about 18 names and emails of people who came to the site. Well, about a week ago, I sat down, and after reading Stephen Pierce's book, I thought, man, I got to try this. I got to increase the conversion on my site. So I didn't change anything except change this to this pop-up right here. Now this pop-up says, congratulations, you've been chosen to receive a 7-day trial membership to the Buying Web Businesses members area. As part of a special marketing test, you'll pay only $2.95 to test drive the site for 7 days if you order in the next 10 minutes. Now notice up here, there's a counter and it's counting down from 10 minutes. And this pop-up disappears in 10 minutes. The window just closes automatically. As part of a special marketing test, you'll pay only $2.95 to test drive the site for 7 days if you order within the next 10 minutes. Instead of $29 for 30 days access, you'll pay only $2.95 for 7 days access. Click here now to take advantage of this marketing test. Note, this special offer will not appear again. You may cancel your membership site at any time, which is both easy and automated. If you continue to use a member beyond the 7-day trial, it's only $29 monthly, which gives you access to the new and updated content. You have zero obligation. Okay, that's all I changed. I had a pop-up that originally captured the email, name and email, to this. What kind of difference do you think that made in the profits of the site? It more than doubled the conversion rate. Now, granted, I now have people who are signing up for $2.95 instead of $29, but listen to this, 70% of the people who sign up for $2.95 convert into normal paying customers at $29, 7 days later, automatically without me doing anything. Okay, so don't you think just that idea right there was worth you coming all the way to Dallas? You can double your profits just by doing this when you get home. iBill takes 15%, which then again they handle the username and passwords. They cut the affiliate checks. They do all the work. If anybody has a complaint, customer service problem, they call iBill, not me. All I do is run the site, put up the content on the site. iBill's handling all the sales and customer service. Okay. So I guess to recap, we've given you some very incredible information, things that you can apply tomorrow, not tomorrow, I guess, Monday when you get home. At the very least, apply what you've learned in this session and apply throughout the seminar, and I guarantee you that this stuff works. I wouldn't be standing up here if this stuff didn't work. I'm just an average guy who happens to sit in front of my computer all day long, every day, trying out little things like this. And the funniest thing is it flat out works. I mean, it sounds so corny, but I talk to people and most of my friends are the same age as me, 29 or 30. They have pretty good jobs. They make, say, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. But think about it. How much better employee would you have to be to double your income in one day? My best friend from high school is a pharmacist. Pharmacists in Utah make about $70,000 a year. Not bad. I showed him this pop-up and what it did to my conversion rate, how it doubled my income in one day. He almost started crying. I told him, well, yeah, it took me like 15 minutes, though. I mean, I had to set up a new iBill thing, and then there was a little problem with the affiliate thing that didn't quite work, so I had to call the programmer and then do it. I mean, I had to finagle some things, but it took all of one day. Now, how long do those results last? Forever. Every day from now on, the site's going to churn along, converting twice the number of visitors and the customers that it used to. Okay, that is very valuable, folks. You need to do these things. I mean, if you buy Stephen Pierce's book, thewholetruth.com, that's obviously not an affiliate link. It's going right to his site. Tell Stephen that you heard about it at the big seminar. It's right in the book. Or, if you're really cheap, you can just go to my site and steal the source code. It works the same. Okay. Okay. I mean, change the link so it does. They don't sign up for my site. But I mean, that's just a heads up. Okay. Thanks, and have a good seminar.
So again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the conference call. My name is Armin Moore, and you are on the Big Seminar Preview Series, and tonight's guest is Kirt Christensen. He'll be joining us momentarily. But before we talk with Kirt, what I want to do is I want to explain to you a little bit about the Big Seminar. The Big Seminar itself is going to be going on November 4th, 5th, and 6th in Los Angeles, and we're going to be talking with each and every one of the people that are going to be a speaker at our Big Seminar coming up very, very shortly. This is our fastest selling Big Seminar that we've had to date. And the reason is because we've been doing this seminar for the last 3 years, and we've literally taught thousands of people all about internet marketing. We've taught them just a huge from a number of different people. For example, we've had people in the past such as Mark Victor Hansen, J. Conrad Levinson, Joe Vitale. Kirt Christensen has been with us before, Alex Mendozian, Stephen Pierce, John Reese. Frank Kern has spoken at our Big Seminar before. But we have just a huge number of people coming and teaching, as well as a lot of people in the audience coming to the event for one specific reason. First of all, it's the largest internet marketing seminar there is in the world. And the reason why it's became so large is because we do things a little different than any other seminar in the world. And the reason is because we know what it takes in order to put you into an environment to allow you to learn as much information as much as possible. We create that environment that's conducive to you learning by doing subtle things throughout the event to make sure that you're getting as much out of the seminar as possible. To get an idea, if you go to bigseminar.com/index, LA, it's capital L, capital A, .html, you'll be able to see a picture there of what our last big seminar looked like and the number of people that were there, and some of the things that we do for our staging throughout that event. You're going to want to bookmark that page because you're going to want to come back to that in a few minutes. But we have different multimedia things that we have going on in the background. Kirt, you're there. Good. We got you. So,
called both lines several times, and they kept saying we were full. So that's one of the problems of success, I guess.
I know that. So again, thanks for being here. But what we're doing before we get to Kirt, again, we have just a tremendous number of speakers that are going to be with us teaching you throughout the weekend. People like John Carlton, who's a tremendous copywriter. Many people call him the secret weapon when it comes to copy. We have Derek Gell. Derek is going to be, as many of you know, with MarketingTips.com. He's now currently running MarketingTips.com, Corey Rudel's company. Alex Bruton. We have PayPal itself coming to the event. We have Michael Fortin. Many people know Michael as the multi-million-dollar copywriter. In fact, the person that first introduced me to Michael Fortin was actually Kirt Christensen. We'll talk about that a little bit later on today. We've got Jim Edwards. Jim's going to be talking about creating an ebook empire. Some people believe that ebooks are dead. Personally, right now in my business, we're probably doing more stuff with ebooks than we ever have ever. And, there's a reason why. Is because it's such a simple process to put together, but at the same time, the profitability on an ebook is probably better than any other type of product I could possibly think of, and the skill level to get started in your own ebook empire is really next to nothing. Well, there's only one person that I know that can teach you effectively how to do this, and that has done it himself over and over and over again, and that is Jim Edwards. And the reason is Jim is just a tremendous person. He literally creates an ebook and will sell thousands upon thousands upon thousands of copies of it within just a few short days in many cases. And he can show you how to do it as well too. Stephen Pierce, many of you know Stephen. He's done many things online. I think a lot of you probably don't even know half the things that he actually does. I don't know if you know this, but Stephen Pierce is only one of 3 people in the world that's qualified to teach you about creativity in a specific way, the same way that Gillette, Nike, Reebok, all the big corporations, the way they create products. Stephen is one of only 3 people in the world that is actually qualified to teach people that same method. He actually works. I know he's doing focus groups with Google. He's doing some really big corporations that are coming to him in order to get him to teach them. You need to learn from Stephen, because the more that you work and be around Stephen, you'll see exactly what he's all about. His thinking process is different. Rich Schefrin, who actually is one of Stephen's business partners in some ventures, Rich has actually done it both online and offline. He's done over $35 million in sales. He actually owned an offline business as well, too, that he recently sold not too long ago. He's worked with people like Jay Abraham, John Carlton, Jeff Paul, Stephen Pierce, Yannick Silver, Alex Mondosian, and even Agora Publishing. They do over $200 million a year, and he's worked with all of those, and he can show you his specific method to how to work less and outsource more, and you're going to see all that at the big seminar. Stephanie Frank, who actually wrote The Accidental Millionaire, Stephanie's going to be there. She's going to show you how to get the root of your fears and eliminate the analysis of paralysis, basically how to get off your butt and actually start getting things done in your business. And some of you think, well, that doesn't sound like a lot. Well, you need to start working your business, and once you learn that process, you will be able to accomplish more in a lot less time with Stephanie's specific method. Dave Lacani, many people talk to him as a marketing genius. He's an in-demand speaker. His latest book, Persuasion, The Art of Getting What You Want, has been published by Wiley, and it's doing out in bookstores here very, very shortly, actually this month, I believe. But he's been in businesses like Home Office Computing, PC Magazine, other media, including like Business Radio Networks, The Business Connection, The Today Show, and dozens more. And he's going to be able to come there and actually show you how to take your business to the next level. We have Alex Mondosian. Now, what's interesting about Alex, many of you know Alex from his marketing background, in some of his infomercial background, some of the things that he's done. But what Alex is going to be revealing at the big seminar is something that he's never taught anyone anywhere, period. And it's going to be pretty amazing. And then we have myself, which I'll be showing things that we're actually creating something brand new specifically to talk about and launch at this particular event, something that no one online or offline has actually seen, and we'll be talking about it at the big seminar first, and maybe that'll be the only place we talk about it, quite honestly. But we're going to be going over that. But tonight's call is with Kirt Christensen. Now, first of all, I want everyone to understand this, is that this call itself is one of our preview series that we're doing for the seminar. What you need to do, if you're interested in coming, the key thing that you need to do is, first of all, register your seat. Go to bigseminar.com/index LA. That's capital L, capital A, .html. By doing that and going there, you'll be able to register your seat immediately, because this event is filling up faster than we ever thought possible, due to the fact that we just have a huge number of people returning out of our alumni. We have many, many people. I mean, just over this weekend, I believe we had over 30-plus people sign up for the event. We're well over the I know we had about 200 people going into the event. I think we had about another 100 or so. So we're closing in on what our target market and where we want to be. So you need to register your seat immediately for this next seminar. So with that, let's talk about today, and let's talk about Kirt. So many of you have heard of Kirt Christensen. Maybe you've seen him on the internet and a lot of what he does, but I don't think you've really seen this side and this aspect to what Kirt's going to be teaching you tonight. Now, Kirt, we're first of all, welcome to the call.
Thanks, Armin. It's a fantastic opportunity to be here with you.
And I'm glad you actually got onto the call.
Yeah, that's one of the problems, and the lines are crowded. You try to call back in, and they keep telling you, please call back later.
Well, let's talk about this. First, let's talk about a little bit about your background, because I think a lot of people can appreciate when you actually got online. So let's talk about when you got online and how that all happened.
Yeah, that would have been back in 1996, back in the Wild West days of the internet, so to speak. And we started a small software company, and it was one of the first types of software of its kind. It's pretty similar to, well, exactly similar to what's now known as Yahoo Store, which was one of our big competitors back then. And we applied some, direct marketing principles for the internet to that little business, and took it from basically just not even breaking even, barely making any sales, to doing over $7,500 a week in sales as a good start. And then about 8 or 9 months later, in May of 1998, we sold it for $11 million of cash in stock to a company back east called Open Market. And so of that, as a VP of sales, I got a small percentage, and just so happens that was my senior year of college. So I've been doing internet marketing since then. That was a venture capital deal. We raised a little bit of money, and after doing another venture capital deal, I decided that I never wanted to do that again. So since then, I've been doing things entirely on my own in terms of the sorts of projects that I work on, and I've been having a fantastic time doing it. But a couple of examples of some of the things that we've created. We have one site that we created with venture capital money is a small cog in what was going to be a bigger machine. If you could just go to hobbytron.com, that site is on the top 50 commerce sites or shopping sites on the internet. Last year, they did in excess of $15 million in sales from that single website, using all the same things that they talk about at the big seminar. It has an affiliate program. They do pay-per-click search engine ads. They do joint ventures. They do upsells. They do cross-sells. So the stuff that you're learning at the big seminar in this series is directly applicable to the real world, in direct contrast to some of the things you learn a lot of times in big glossy magazines like Inc. or Entrepreneur or Business 2.0.
So basically what you're saying is that when you take the principles that we talk about, that we teach, and many people have heard from many people in this industry talk about, when you apply it to actually an e-commerce type portal, obviously it works.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it works better than others, and sometimes you have gangbuster home runs, and other times you just hit a single, and occasionally you strike out. But your batting average goes up significantly if you apply this type of direct internet marketing that we're talking about. If you follow these steps, we're not saying that that you're going to hit a home run every time, but you have a much greater chance of at least getting on base. You have a much greater chance of surviving long enough to make those sales that are going to set you up in the way that you and your family deserve.
Now, I know you've been, like you just said, you've been around since 1996. You've done some of these. You worked with a lot of these companies here. Now, recently, actually a few years ago, you started several different websites. For example, you have one company that does buying and selling web businesses online.
Right, of course, yeah. We teach people that method of buying undervalued businesses, and most of the time keeping those and fixing them up, so to speak, and turning them into cash cows. And that whole concept is applicable for everyone, of course.
Well, and for example, one of the businesses I know that you bought a few years ago is you bought Terry Dean's business.
Oh yeah, we bought Terry Dean's business, entire worldwide rights to all of his products and everything that he'd ever done, and actually we bought that for zero money up front. So actually, the business, we basically got it for free. We ran it for a while and paid him a portion of the profits until he was paid off. So, those type of deals do exist. Obviously, that wasn't an everyday type of deal, but much more common ones exist all the time. Like you and I were talking this past weekend, I recently purchased, as in last week, I purchased a business on eBay of all places, which is actually quite a good place to find businesses for sale. I purchased a little site selling an ebook. You know, you were talking about the building an ebook empire earlier.
Right.
I bought a little site that was selling an ebook for $2,800. You know, the rights to the ebook, the sales letter, what they're doing on Google AdWords, you know, everything from A to Z. Well, here's the interesting part. Well, the website was already netting, as in putting in the owner's pocket, about $2,500 a month. So tell me any other place on the planet that you can purchase a business and basically pay for it in 1 month just out of the profits.
Right. So basically you bought the business, a month later you were paid back for the amount of money you spent on it, and now all of a sudden every month after that you're actually in the profit.
Yeah, and you know, that's the great thing about the internet is the residual income. You know, residual income means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And when we talk about residual income, typically we're talking about income that you either have to do zero work for or very little.
Right.
So, and you know, that for that business, it looks like we'll have to spend probably an hour or so a week answering a few emails, customer service questions, and things like that. But since it's such a decidedly low-tech product and a non-tech type of course that we're selling, the questions are really kept basically to a minimum. And you know that cash flow comes in month in, month out. If you look at the alternatives, if you go to say invest money in the stock market or to buy real estate or futures or whatever, think of how much capital you would have to get a return of $2,500 a month. Passive, or basically passive.
Exactly. I mean, it'd take considerable amount of money, where most people just couldn't feasibly outlay that in one shot.
Exactly. So, that's one of the huge advantages of the internet is once you get a little bit of a knowledge of some of the strategies and tactics that we talk about, you can apply them and almost immediately see dramatic results.
Now, along the way, you started working with search engines themselves, search engine marketing. I know you've done a lot of that in the last year or two.
Yeah, we have specifically trying to target making money from the program Google AdSense, which of course for the last couple of years has been the talk of the town, so to speak. Right, it's the next big thing,
right.
And it has turned into an extremely big thing. Just before the call, just to pull up an example of what we're talking about. I'm in no way saying that I'm the world's expert on Google AdSense, but I'm pretty knowledgeable and I have the results to back it up. Just from one AdSense account, and I have several. This is my main account that I've used the longest. From September 20th of 2004, so exactly 1 year ago today, until today, September 20th of 2005, the amount of money I made in this one AdSense account, which is 100% profit, the Google just sends you a check, is $94,449.92.
And that's just one account.
That's one account. Yeah. I mean, that is my oldest account. Going back, all my other accounts are not even a year old yet. So,
right.
Just to show you the scope of what we're talking about. We're not talking about get rich quick or anything like that. But as you well know from your own experiences with Google AdSense,
right.
It can be extremely intoxicating. And getting that check delivered by FedEx once a month from FedEx or UPS.
Right. I mean,
if you get a check over $10,000, they send it to you by FedEx or UPS.
Yeah, we like it when that check comes.
Good time of month.
Exactly. I mean, many people. I mean, on this call, a lot of people don't know that. For example, because we talk. But a lot of people don't know that we've been doing Google AdSense for 3 years, I guess now, 2-3 years.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, about 2.5 years ago, I think they started it, right?
Yeah, I think about 2.5 years. We were on just shortly after they started, so I guess about 2 years ago then. We've just done huge numbers over Google AdSense. Almost in many cases, we never quite hit the six figures in a month, but pretty dang close to it with some of our AdSense revenue. And so, one of the things that I just want to let everyone know is that. Whenever I get a chance, I talk to Kirt a lot and we share ideas about Google AdSense, what's working for him. I tell him what's working for us, and we go back and forth. But one of the things I think a lot of people don't understand, Kirt, especially when it comes to Google and Google AdSense, is what it is necessarily that makes revenue, and basically a lot of it is just getting into the search engines in a proper formulation in order to make that happen.
Right. Yeah. Basically, you could say for the Google AdSense machine, so to speak, there's probably, you can divide it into 3 different sections. First, you got to get pages of yours that are indexed in the search engines. If you're not indexed in the search engines, well, there's no use in doing anything else because you're going to still be at stage 1. So, and that changes. How to get your pages indexed in the search engines is a piece of the puzzle that changes from time to time. There's a lot of ways that will work forever, as in getting inbound links to your site, submitting articles, and a couple other things of that nature. Others are more mandatory and kind of the flavor of the month sort of thing. The second important part of a Google AdSense campaign or empire is targeting. Now, this is going to be a little bit controversial because a lot of people say you need to target high-paying keywords. You hear that phrase all the time. Well, what are the high-paying keywords? People know, most of the people on this call will be familiar with the keyword mesothelioma,
right?
Which is simply cancer caused by asbestos. Well, hello, of course, that's going to be a very valuable and high-paying keyword to attorneys that are trying to prosecute companies who use asbestos or things like that. So, that is kind of an urban legend in internet marketing, that whole mesothelioma keyword, simply because it was one of those keywords that everybody figured out that advertisers were willing to pay, in some cases, up to $100 a click. Now, I don't think it's nearly that now, but several months ago, that's what it was. Now, so there's a lot of those what are called high-paying keyword lists out there. I take a little bit different approach to those. I think it's important that you have that you get paid a significant amount every time someone clicks on your ad, but I don't think you should be that naive and that myopic to just only target things like mesothelioma or structured settlement or things like that. My best site had a pretty tame keyword compared to that. We had a site that at times has done in excess of $600 a day or $18,000 a month all by itself. And the main keyword for that site is printing. A lot of people say, well, that's pretty common, but in that niche, the advertisers under printing are actually surprisingly generous. You can generate upwards of 40 to 50 cents a click for each of those clicks.
Interesting. And you would never think on a subject such as printing that people would that you could make that type of income out of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean because it's an off topic. I mean we've done a lot of off topic subjects as well, and it's just amazing that because everyone else is here's a strategy that I think that I've taught many people, and that is whatever main keyword that everyone else is going after, run in the total opposite direction, because everybody and their brother is going to be doing it, such as credit or credit repair, mortgages,
sure.
or
mortgage, yeah.
Life insurance is a good one too that everybody does, because they pay well when you get your sites indexed for those keywords. But the fact is that you're missing the boat when you're doing if you do off-topic things like we've done. Water filters, we've done ovens, we've done refrigerators, we've done just a number of things like that pay just as I wouldn't say just as well, but because it's a less competitive market, it's a lot easier to get your sites indexed. I mean, how many sites do you know that really optimize their sites for refrigerators?
Exactly. And the other huge advantage is they have staying power. I mean, if we're going to be talking about residual income, you don't want to create a site and then have it go down the tubes in a month. I mean, even if you get a site up that's only doing, who knows, even $10 or $15 a month, times that by 10 or 100 or 1,000, that can make a real difference in a family's life in terms of their lifestyle. So
right. I mean, well, let's look at the other side. I mean, because we've mentioned some pretty big numbers. You mentioned like $18,000 a month on one fight. I mentioned over almost six figures a month and stuff. That we're doing in general. But the fact is, let's talk about the average person. Because some people, honestly, they may not be able to grasp, that type of income or what it may be. But let's talk about the complexities of actually creating a site that, I don't know, let's just say makes $1,000 a month. I mean, let's just kind of walk people through a little bit of a process. I mean, obviously we've got to select a topic first of all.
Sure. Yeah. There's a couple different ways to select topics. I think you and I are more on the same page in terms of the value of top-paying keywords and all that kind of stuff. That's not to say, I'd buy basically every top-paying keyword list to scroll through.
Yeah.
To see if there's some niche I haven't thought of. But even a simpler approach for those on the call that kind of want to get started and get into this before a big seminar is if you go to wordtracker.com, that's one of probably the granddaddy of all keyword search tools. That gives you counts of how many searches and all that sort of thing. But one of their lesser known features is they have what's called the 1,000 most searched for keywords on the net. And so if you look through that will give you a great idea of sometimes keywords that wouldn't show up on the hot keywords, the high-paying keywords list, but obviously still have tons and tons of traffic. One of the funnest ones that a lot of people have probably never heard of is oftentimes in February, March, April. If you take a look at that list, the number one phrase search for on the internet at just that time of year is science fair projects. Now, think of that. That's ludicrous to think that could be the number one keyword. But in that time of year, it is simply because I think it's either in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, sometime in those middle school years. Now in the U.S., every kid does a science fair project. So just imagine every kid in the U.S. sitting down on Google or Yahoo and typing in science fair project because they got to find plans to do their science fair project or a kit or whatever it is that they're looking for. Other keywords that you'll find on that list, for example, one of the first sites that I did when I started creating sites using a program called MetaWebs, which I recommend, is I was looking through the top 1,000 keywords list and I came across prom dresses. I thought, well, that's a great keyword. It's not like, mesothelioma, you don't got attorneys willing to pay $100 a click for prom dress traffic, but certain times of the year, that there are, plenty of advertisers trying to sell prom dresses and whatever, everything related to the prom. I can't even remember all the different words, but I'm looking here at the site, some of the sub-keywords are things like dresses for prom, duct tape prom, dyeable prom shoes, formal prom dresses, good prom hairstyles. And, I think that is a good bread and butter type of site that people can create. That site was the very first one we created with a new system called MetaWebs, and it generates about $1,000 a month, and has since that goes back to about January of this year. So going on 9 months now.
Amazing. Now let's talk about that subject real quick, because I know a lot of people are hung up. I know you mentioned MetaWebs, but a lot of people are hung up upon which tool to use to make their web pages.
Right,
and
exactly.
They think that the tool is going to make the difference as far as which one, is going to be better. One tool is better than the other. Let's face it. There's Traffic Equalizer. There's My Program Directory Generator. There's MetaWebs. There's tons. What are some other ones that you know about there?
Oh, Niche Portal Builder and
Niche Portal Builder.
Content Desk and
right.
Content Site Builder. I guess that's Content Desk.
Right.
Yeah, there's probably, I'd say probably at least 10 to 15 programs out there. You came out with your directory generator, and we came out with our own version about the same time. I think it was middle of last year. And since then, we've both been ripped off left and right, so to speak. I guess, like they say, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, we came out with Directory Generator. The reason why we came out with it was because we knew that some things, some of the other programs that existed at the time, couldn't do some of the things that we needed for the search engines. And so we developed that particular version where, for example, there's no index pages necessarily. There's, we tried to leave as little footprints as possible, which make everything optional so Pearson can change literally everything on the page without really affecting where the rankings are going to happen. And I know you guys have something very similar that does the same thing. But some people think it's a lot of time it's the tool that generates the page, when it's a lot of time it's the knowledge of how you use that tool.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And, my recommendation is actually, for people who are serious about this, is, do this in 2 stages. The first stage would be to, by yourself, research and become knowledgeable on the topic of AdSense. It's only been around 2 years, so it's not like you have to go back, and research 100 years of direct marketing knowledge, of 200 years of copywriting knowledge. Everything that's ever happened with AdSense has happened in 2 years. So you can do that. Even the average person, I believe, still can become a knowledgeable expert on AdSense simply because it hasn't been around that long. That would be the first stage. Do that and create your first 100 sites using whatever tool, off-the-shelf tool you can find.
Well, let's
possibly already have.
Let's back up. Because you just said something, I know you feel the same way about sites as I do, is that you said the first thing, use that to make your first 100 sites.
Exactly.
And, we have people contacting us, well, I'm not sure why my site isn't doing so well. I'm not really making that much income off of it. And my question is, well, how many sites do you have? And they say, well, we've got 2. And
exactly.
we write back, well, that's your problem. is that you have 2, where we know from our experience that you need to have quite a few. I mean, we have I believe 500 plus sites out there that are generating revenue for us, and we know the type of income that we can generate from that. And I know many people. I was just talking to someone that you and I both know this weekend that just created is in the process of creating 600 plus sites.
Oh yeah, exactly. When it comes to that, that's why I like to break it into 2 sections. Simply because if you told the average person, on this call, okay, if you want to make some serious money in AdSense, go out and create 2,000 sites.
Right.
That would be the end of the conversation. You'd hear the door slam or the phone click, and you'd be all by yourself.
Right.
But if you can get someone to create their first 100 sites, they will see the power of the process, and they'll learn an immense amount going through the process themselves of physically sitting down on the keyboard and creating the sites, figuring out how to do all the sub-keywords and exactly how to get the pages into the engines and everything like that. And, they'll start getting their first check from AdSense, which in itself is a huge accomplishment. Probably 90% of AdSense publishers never even get a check. Why? Because to get a check, you got to have accrued more than $100.
Right.
So that would be stage 1. I would say get 100 sites, get your first check. Once you've validated yourself, because as you well know, yourself, Armin, a lot of people think it's all about the latest tool or this tactic here and exactly how to position that. And it is true that there is some of that, but overwhelmingly, what people are often missing is just action. They don't do anything because they don't know. Well, should I sign the letter, warmly or sincerely? Should I send out an email from, should I choose my email address as webmaster or should I use my first name? Things like that. They just get stuck and they don't proceed any farther and take any more action. Once you take that initial action, stage 2 of this whole AdSense empire would be to outsource and outsource in a very specific way. Really outsource. Don't hire people in the U.S. at $20 an hour to create sites for you, but actually hire programmers or customer service people from overseas through using Elance, Rent-A-Coder, any number of services out there. You can get people overseas who would gladly create sites exactly according to your specifications and dramatically increase the speed at which you can create sites. I've recently hired 2 people in the Philippines. They haven't started yet, so I've still got my fingers crossed. We have a person there managing it and hiring them, but we're getting 2 college graduates, college graduates in the Philippines, so they're 21 or 22.
Right.
And, English speakers, of course, English being one of the major languages of the Philippines. Computer literate for $2 an hour. And that's it. There's no overtime to pay. There's no, Social Security tax. That's it. So think of the possibility. Here, if you hired someone here in the U.S. to create sites for you, or help you with your empire, and pay them $8, $10, or $12 an hour, well, you could hire 4 people, or 5 people, or 6 people overseas for that same amount.
Right.
So that's the vision of where you want to go with this. You don't want to be creating site 1001 yourself by hand.
Well, I think a lot of people are kind of stuck on the fact that they have to do it themselves, and therefore they get they get overburdened. I mean, they have other things they do. I mean, let me make it clear that the money that I make from this type of marketing, that with search engines, with AdSense, it's a very substantial business in itself, and I look at it as different. But ultimately, to me, it's still play, because I don't spend a lot of time doing it personally. And what we do is we put it out there. But my main bread and butter is selling and marketing products on the internet.
Right.
That's what I do. So I personally don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm very consistent. The majority of my sites, of the 500 sites, most of them I did myself personally, and and I usually try to make a page, at least a new site each and every day, myself. But
right.
And we haven't even tried outsourcing, like what you just mentioned, which honestly,
yeah.
I kind of kicked myself in the butt and thinking that I should have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, think about it this way. You create a site each and every day, so that's pretty much a set process, right? I mean,
right.
If you're doing basically the same thing. Well, what if you just used your screen cam generator suite to record that one time,
right.
with you talking and explaining the process step by step? So, I mean, it's going to take 2 or 3 times as long to do it that way. But then, let's say you went on Elance or hired some people in the Philippines, and now their job each and every day is to create one site.
Right.
So it just makes it that much more scalable, and because it's going to actually cost you less than doing it yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you hired 5 people in the Philippines at $2 an hour, and it takes them an hour to create a site, well, how much did that just cost you for 5 new sites in a day? That just cost you $10.
Yeah.
It's $2 a site.
Yeah, and how much is your personal time worth?
Right. Yeah. I mean, how much could you make you personally, obviously, in an hour by creating a new product or sending an email to your list? So,
yeah.
I mean, we're exactly on the same page of what this means in terms of most people in America have the same problem of letting go, of letting someone else do their work for them. So, I think it's if it's that huge of a problem, you need to be prepared to do something about it. It takes a massive action to correct that. And there's nothing really better than the AdSense income. The only problem with it, the only real problem, and there's really no way around this at this point, but in the future there may be other programs, but right now AdSense is the only game in town. Yeah, Yahoo's coming out with their new thing, and I'm sure there'll be more, but once it gets to the point where there's 2 or 3 competing programs, it's really going to be the perfect world for content publishers. No customer service, no customers, no refunds, no chargebacks, no phone calls, nothing. You get paid for a click, and that's it.
Now, let's in the process of creating these type sites, I mean, ultimately, what I found is that you become pretty good at search engine optimization. You discover some things that many people claim about search engine optimization, but you discover some things that's blatantly a lie, almost. When it comes to search engine, for example, let's talk about some things like PageRank. Give me your opinion about PageRank.
Right. Now, here's my quick search engine disclaimer. I claim to be a search engine practitioner, not an expert in any way or anything like that.
Right.
So, don't have all the SEO people on SEO forums, sending me flames or anything like that. This is
exactly
just from my experience. To me, PageRank is essentially an arbitrary number that you can't affect. So if it's a number that you can't affect, why worry about it? Really, why even talk about it or think about it? Because there's nothing that you can do to really. People say that you can increase your page rank, but even increasing your page rank doesn't necessarily increase your ranking position. So I think a lot of people, and you're seeing this now. It used to be a year ago, PageRank was, the greatest thing ever. Now a lot of people are beginning to see the light and saying, well, it's just an arbitrary number assigned by Google of how well they like the site, and it doesn't even affect where your site is ranked in the engine.
Right. Now, let's talk about some other things. Let's talk about this, because there's probably some people on here that may just not have considered AdSense as a revenue source, or may not considered making pages like this in order to generate traffic or generate revenue. What are some things that the average person can do out there to increase their search engine ranking?
The best and easiest way for the average person to increase their search engine ranking is not anything new. People have heard this time and time again, but it is the absolute truth. Google especially is going away from a lot of what are called on-page factors. There's basically only three things that could affect your ranking. What's on the page, the actual page that's being looked at, what is the page, as in, the address of the page, what's in the domain name and things like that, and then what else is said about the page, so off-page factors. So you have URL factors, on-page factors, and off-page factors. And frankly, it looks like the engines are beginning to devalue on-page factors. Here's a simple experiment for people. If you're in front of your browser, go ahead and type in loose diamonds and see what site pulls up. It should be number 2. Yep, still number 2 today, which is good to see because it's been there for 5 years. Loose diamonds, for those of you who aren't familiar with the diamonds industry, the number one search phrase for diamonds is obviously diamonds and diamond. But after that, the next best phrase with the most amount of searches, and you can verify this on Word Tracker or the Overture inventory suggestion tool, is the phrase loose diamonds. In fact, it's the very first phrase that is succinctly describes exactly what the searcher knows what they're looking for, right? Somebody types in diamond, well, they could be looking for, Diamond Bar, California, or it can be looking for diamondback rattlesnakes, and maybe just screwed up or something. But loose diamonds is a very targeted and very important key phrase in the diamond industry. If you look at the people who are advertising on AdWords, BlueNile.com comes up number 1 on AdWords. Well, that's because they're a venture capital funded company with $20 million in venture capital. So they're paying for the number 1 paid spot. And the number 2 free spot is us, is eDiamondBrokers.com. How we got there is not because of on-page factors. If you go look at that site, the on-page factors are probably just totally jacked up. Because when I sold this site, they changed everything and didn't bother to maintain any of the on-page factors. The reason it's still ranked number 2 is simply that it has about 600 inbound links from other diamond and jewelry websites. That's it. Now, you may think, oh, well, that's a lot of work. But let's amortize that over the time that we did that. We created those links 4 years ago, and to this day, 4 years later, it's still ranked number 2 on Google for that very important keyword phrase. I would estimate that site, eDiamond Brokers, does in excess of $2 million a year just from that list, just from that free listing right there.
That's pretty amazing itself. I mean, just from that free listing. And now, the fact is that you at one time had owned that. You had bought that company.
Yeah, this is the company that I bought and got ranked under that phrase. And the time that I sold it, we were doing around $1.2 million a year in loose diamond sales. I think now they're doing it in excess of $5 million a year in loose diamond sales. The last time I checked.
Amazing.
Yeah, just selling, small little pieces of rock over the internet.
Now let's talk about this. Let's talk about you mentioned one of the things as being domain name.
Sure.
Now let's talk about, because I know. Here's the thing: as many people talk about, domain names, how you should name your site, and how that's going to affect you getting ranked in the search engines. Now, what is it that you have found for yourself personally to work most effectively for you?
Right. It absolutely positively has to have the name and the keyword. The keyword in the domain name, must be a .com domain name, except for on MSN. And on MSN, .net and .org rank higher. Excuse me. Other things is, the perfect domain for example, diamonds would be diamonds.com. The next best thing would be if you could have a single keyword, a single letter in front of diamonds.com. So onediamonds.com, adiamonds.com, bdiamonds.com. One of the most important factors is simply that the domain is short. No dashes. And it doesn't, a lot of people say, well, it needs to be the keyword, then the extraneous characters. Our research has shown the exact opposite. That's kind of insider information. Not a lot of people have talked about that.
Let's just clear that up for people. So it's best to have the keyword, the other characters first before the keyword.
It seems to. I can't, directly say that that's every single time, but
right. But that's what you
most
found.
cases. Yeah.
That's what you found in your
right.
Right. So, and that has a pretty significant factor as far as rankings go, which a lot of people wouldn't necessarily think of in the whole process.
Right. And, a lot of times you can overcome your lack of search engine expertise or lack of search engine knowledge just by simply getting inbound links. We can basically just overwhelm the engines into giving you the rankings you deserve. Now, a lot of people get hung up on that is work. True, it is work. However, if you do it in a systematized fashion using something like Zeus from Cyber Robotics or Duncan Carver's Link Manager or something like that kind of automates the process a little, makes it dramatically easier to do that. Just the simple fact of getting inbound links makes your site spidered more often, which is a huge thing, and gets you into the index in the first place, which to a lot of people is a big concern. They start a new website and it just sits there and sits there and sits there, and spiders never come around and never gets indexed anyway.
Now, what's your thought about buying inbound links?
Yeah, a lot of people have experimented with the situation of buying inbound links, and it appears that used to work extremely, extremely well. You would buy inbound link from a traffic broker or something like that, and they would sell you a link from, for example, a PR7 site, which just simply means in our vernacular that's getting a lot of traffic, but that's how they sell them in link land, and that would you would point that towards a directory of your sites. Say you have 200 websites or so. Instead of buying a PR7 link to each of your sites, you would create a little directory of all your sites and have the link that you're buying point to that. It appears that that's not working as well as it used to work. However, it's sure better than nothing. It sure beats waiting for your site to someday get indexed. Absolutely, the best kind of links that you can get are from other sites on topic. But even if you do, things, for example, like running ads on, foxnews.com, which is an extremely popular news site, or Newsmax, or which is another big one, or Mercury News. Those appear to still work. The buying traffic or buying links, from large news sites, simply because the nature of a news site is exactly what Google specifically is looking for. I mean, if you were Google, the site that you would love is a news site because, one, it's updated all the time with brand new, fresh content, and it's huge. It's got all kinds of links. Everything links to everything else. You've got all kinds of sections, and that a lot of people are using those to get their sites indexed, and also for the traffic, of course.
So, obviously it's a good idea for many people to do this.
Yeah. Bottom line, yes.
And that's, some of the things, because, what's interesting about the search engine stuff is that, there's so many people talking about search engine marketing, and I'm not saying that all these people are wrong. All I'm saying is that, everyone has found something different that works, and specifically to them. I mean, I know you have a system that works for you. I have a very similar system that works for me when it comes to search engines, and certainly when it comes to making these types of, let's call them mass-generated pages. And, the question is that what I always ask myself is, what is the success of the people that you're listening to? And that's really the key, because if something's working, I don't want to know that it works just one time, because one time, quite honestly, can be a fluke. There could be factors that a person hasn't thought of as to why they've gotten those results, and they may not know those particular factors. So I've seen many people, here's the sad part when it comes to this, is because of the popularity of search engines and the search engine tools, each and every week we see new tools coming out. It's like the latest flavor of the week, and, I get a lot of emails, and I'm sure you do too, Kirt, about promoting these tools out to your lists and everything, and some of them are really good, and I have no problem in recommending these tools out to people. But then again, a lot of these people are just coming out with the tools. They don't understand the process, and therefore, and number two, they're not even using the tools themselves to a certain degree.
That's a big one that you and I both don't like.
No, I mean, because what it is, it's taking advantage of this marketplace. And if you don't know the difference as to, if you understand the general process and the concept of search engines and how they work, certain basic strategies always have to be there. There's going to be some tools that are timely, that work for a period of time. And, first of all, I'm one of the first people to jump on these things. I will buy almost anything. And the reason is because...
what was your credit card number again?
Exactly. I think I have a standing order with you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'll try everything, because what I found out is that some of these tools that people are using, they're pretty good, but in some cases, with a slight modification to what they're claiming that it does, we can modify it and use it in a slightly different way and actually get better results in many cases. And some tools, we can look at them and just say, it's not going to work, and here's the reasons why it's not going to work. And, so you never know. But the thing is, you have to be careful as far as what tools that you buy out there for your search engine projects. I mean, there's some great keyword tools that are coming out, that have come out recently. There's, each week seems like someone's making another page generation system. I'm going to tell everyone right now, I mean, it's the page generation systems themselves, they all work to a point. It's what you do with it after you buy it, and the logic behind it. Some people are making tools that are just rehashes of tools that were developed 2 years ago. And
exactly. Yeah.
It seems like it's come full cycle almost. And the reasons why people have moved on to different systems is because some of the tools have inherent flaws in them. And you need to be aware of those flaws. If you don't, then you're in big trouble. So, my point to everyone on this call particularly is be careful of what you invest your money on, what you spend your money on. What sometimes promises to be the end-all of everything may work for a period of time, but it's not going to maybe not work long-term. I mean, personally, I get the question every day. This is pretty funny. Does Directory Generator work? I get that at least twice, 2-3 times a week. And the answer is undoubtedly yes, because that's exclusively what I use to generate pages at this particular point in time. And the reason, if there's a change, I'm going to make the change. I'm going to make the change, and I'm going to make the system work for me. And I'll have Mark, who's my partner, and then Mark Quarles, make some modifications to it. I mean, we have some modifications that are coming out in the very near future to it. It's mostly cosmetic things, nothing major as far as how it works. But if it stops working, then we'll modify it into what I believe to work in the search engines. Then we'll test it, and then we'll let everyone else know about it. But directory generator still works, MetaWebs works. I mean, all these programs work. But what is when you take the basic tool itself and combine it with an enhanced knowledge of search engines and how search engines work and why it needs to be done? Because honestly, with these programs, when you have this knowledge, you are now independent, meaning that you are not dependent upon anybody for your knowledge, because you're going to understand the general concept, and that's all ultimately you need to know. So you need some training in order to provide you that. Now, Kirt, let's talk about what you're going to be talking about at the big seminar on November 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Sure. We're going to talk about, basically what we've talked about here, but obviously in, much more depth. We're going to talk about how to create an empire of residual income online, be it AdSense, be it through other affiliate programs, but the whole system from A to Z. If someone's starting saying, hey, I want to get on this train, but I don't know where to start. We'll go through everything dealing with which of the page generating systems to use. We recommend using actually quite a few. More of a mutual fund approach because each system, obviously, like you said, has its own pluses and minuses. And then we'll go through the whole system of setting it up, checkpoints along the way to check your progress, and kind of what you can expect as it is now. Obviously in this whole AdSense arena, things do change. But as it is now, I have quite a few friends and associates, people who, like you and I, who just started this in the near past, that are doing incredible amounts of money. So it'll be a high-level AdSense / affiliate program, affiliate marketing presentation. We'll deal with some actual case studies. Clients of mine that are doing in excess of $50,000 or $60,000 a month online using these systems, and what to watch for, what to avoid, and kind of just give you a snapshot and case studies of what they're doing that's working right now.
Sounds good to me. And folks, there's a lot. we could probably go on for several hours talking about the different pieces of the puzzle, but we just don't have that much time in order to do that. Now, here's the key. I know that search engines are huge. I know that they can benefit your business. I know in a specific business model that Kirt briefly described this evening, that you can make a lot of money creating sites for search engines in order to generate traffic, in order to build a revenue off of AdSense or affiliate marketing or whatever case may be, or simply just driving traffic to your own site, if you know how to do it. And so Kirt's going to be describing a very detailed system that you'll be able to take advantage of in order to start it, and you can do that all at the big seminar. Now, as many of you know, the big seminar is on November 4th, 5th, and 6th. 4th, 5th, and 6th of November. And, again, this is going to be our biggest and our best seminar to date. We've put a lot of time and energy into it. And each and every time we make our seminar a little bit better. There's a reason why we have a huge, huge number of people coming back each and every time. It's because what we put together, how we present it, and number one happens to be the speakers that teach a person from the technical aspect of how to build their business. But the second part, which is even as important, if not more important in some cases, is the networking. Because, my belief is when I say man, I'm using the general sense of the word man. Now, I'm not excluding women. Just want to make sure I just cut down my emails. But So that every person, let's just say that every person is not an island. There's not a single person that's an island. You cannot do this business by yourself. That's why networking is so important. It's the people that I associate with that makes me successful. It's not because of all the things that I know, because there's no way that I could learn all these different aspects of the net on my own. It would take me years and years and years, much longer than what I've personally been online to build my success. What gives me an advantage is that I have met with people that have become my friends, such as Kirt, such as Alex Mondosian, who's also a business partner and joint venture partner with me in several projects, such as Stephen Pierce, John Reese. Many of these people that you can pick up the phone, we can talk to each other. They have questions, they can call me. If I have questions, I can call them, and we can help each other out when we have things. Instead of trying to figure it out, like, oh, didn't so and so say they did that already? Let me find out what their results were. So you can pick up the phone, you can find out. That's network. If you have a product that you're getting ready to launch, you can pick up the phone, you can call your network of people and help them in that launch of that product. We made a few phone calls recently, and I only made a few. I didn't call a lot of people, but we took one site that we had from zero one day to the 364th most visited site in the world in less than 24 hours. How can we do that? It's because of the network. It's not because of our own list. It's because our list in combination with other people's lists and building that up. Your network's extremely important. I know many people from my seminar, from the big seminar itself, have gone in to create their own mastermind groups. One of the principles that Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich, which if you haven't read it, you need to, he talks about the mastermind principle. I firmly believe that everyone should be involved in a mastermind. Now, it doesn't have to be that you're in. I'm not necessarily talking about a coaching program. I'm talking about a mastermind group, a group of your peers that you can jump on the phone, you can talk amongst each other, and you can develop a mastermind group that will help each other out. Meaning that your group of people, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people maybe, or maybe even more, but I think 10 is a really good number. And you get on the phone maybe once a week, and you simply talk to each other. You find out, okay, what are you doing? Maybe everyone critiques. You go around the room and you just simply talk about each other's website. And you tell them, okay, well, here's what I see that you should try, or here's what I see that I think you're doing wrong, or I did that already, and I think you should change that. Basically, you do a critique of everyone else's website. That helps out tremendously. Now, as you all grow in your businesses, the critiques will be even better because your knowledge will be expanding. But where do you find people like that are serious about their business in order just to take a little time out each week to do that? Well, you have to find them, and you have to know them, and you have to meet them face to face. The best way I found to do that is at a seminar. Our seminar happens to be a serious crowd of people that have taken the initiative to, in many cases, to fly across the country, and in some cases, fly across the world in order to be with us at the big seminar. And these people are serious about their business. With our event, it's not a low-cost event. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not a free event. It's not $197. It's not $497. It's not even $1,000. It's $1,997. It's almost $2,000 to come to the event. And you know what? I don't apologize for the amount of money that it costs to come to the event. And the reason is because the people that come to that event, in some cases it may be the last $2,000 they have. I hope it's not, because that's not what we're trying to do. The reason why is because we have more costs than any other seminar out there in the market. It costs us a lot of money in order to put on this event. But also importantly, what happens is that the quality of a person raises significantly, meaning that these people that are there are running, in many cases, successful business already, or are just drop-dead serious about their business. And what that does for you is that raises the level of person that you have the ability to network with and ability to learn from. The speakers at our event will deliver, and I can guarantee you that they will over-deliver. And what you will learn from our speakers and the people that will be teaching you for those 3 days will just blow you away. I mean, I have seen where a speaker has said something in the middle of a presentation, and I've seen people just get up, literally run out of the room and go up to their hotel room in order to change something and have results by the end of either that day or the end of the weekend, because of one small thing that maybe a speaker had said that in some cases other people maybe even pick up on, but they were ready to hear that information. And all of a sudden, it made a significant change in their business, and it made a significant change, obviously, in their life as far as the amount of revenue that they've generated. Now, the decision really comes down to one thing. I say this almost on each call. It comes down to a decision, very simple. A decision on whether you are at the stage in your business to make that change or not. If you want to create big change in your business, you need to start making it immediately. There is no good time to change. There is no good time to continue your education. The only time that you really have is right now. I urge you to make the decision. I know it will be the best decision that you will ever make in your life, because we put a guarantee. The guarantee that I have in my seminar is really simple. All you have to do is come to my event at the end of the first day. If you don't like it, if you think it's not for you, if you did not receive all the information that you expected to receive in just one day, then come up to me and say, Armin, it's just not for me, and I'd like a refund. And you know what? I'll walk you over, and we'll make sure that we give you your money back right there on the spot. It's that simple. Why do we offer such a guarantee? Because we know what our event does, and we know what it can do for you. Obviously, the event's going to over-deliver. The second part is what I can't control, is what you will do with that information. But I know this is that we will give you what you need to know in 3 full days at the big seminar. So again, go to this website right now, www.bigseminar.com/index, capital L, capital A, .html. That's bigseminar.com/index, capital L, capital A, .html. Now, here, I'm going to give you a secret. Here's the secret. And it's against my better judgment in order to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Some people will say, Armin, well, can't we get some kind of a discount or anything like that? And my answer is no. That's the initial response. But there's not necessarily a flaw in my system, but there is. The flaw is this, is that with one person it's $19.97. For 2 people, it's the first person comes for full price, the second person comes for half price. So here's the deal. In order to save money on your ticket, all you have to do is find another person that also wants to go, and you merge your money together. So now you're paying a little bit less. Each of you are paying less money for the ticket to the event, if that's a way that you want to save money in coming to the event, and then share a hotel room together. It's very simple. So, maybe you want to look for someone like that. Who knows? But that's an alternative way that you can register your seat. My point is I think do whatever you can to get there, because it's going to be an event that will change your life. It will be an event that you're going to meet contacts, friends, associates that have that will have an impact for the rest of your life, and a relationship that you may create there, which will go on to maybe create you millions of dollars. Who knows? But it can all happen there because the environment is right, and we developed it to a point where it makes it really easy for you to do this. So go ahead, register your seat today, and I hope to see you on November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Kirt, thank you very much for being with us on the call.
Thanks so much, Armin.
I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Everyone have a great night, and we'll talk to everyone soon. We'll have another call on Thursday of this week. Don't forget, it's going to be a tremendous call. Well, register that seat tonight and come to our event. I look forward to seeing you there. Everyone have a great night. Bye-bye, everybody.